In-game live all access. Countdown to kickoff continues. We are throwing it down on Media Row. And you know what? We're always like one of the last ones standing. And it's already begun. It really is amazing, man. Like right now, McAfee stage is just getting ripped apart right now. It looks like it's like a metal fest. There's a bunch of like long hair roadie type, grip type dudes just peeling things off and ba-bam, ba-bam. You're gonna hear a lot of noises behind us. Everybody leaves like right away. I remember years ago, and Mick Ossie was actually there then. I remember years ago when Jim Rome was doing the show like right beside us. It was the Super Bowl many years ago. And I was surprised, and I asked Jim Rome, I said, Jim, are you going to the game? He goes, oh, God, no. He goes, I'm getting the hell out of here the first plane I can. And that was on Friday, like when his last show was over. And same thing to Pat. I said, when are you guys leaving? And they told me whenever Pat like decides to. And I said, like, I thought they meant like, the building. I said, no. I said, when's your flight? They said, well, no. I mean, they said, oh, Pat has a plane, right? So they're gone, right? So Pat, like, if people wondering, staying for the Super Bowl, no, they're gone. They're already on the way to the airport right now, but we're still here. And Mick Ossie is as well. Well, not here. He's there, but he's here with us in spirit. Mick Ossie. I don't know what the connection with the Elk jersey is, but what's up, Mick?
Well, it's green and white, and I'm going to a Elk Super Bowl party on Sunday at the River Cree where I saw Mike Tyson and Rob Snyder. So a nice big party, but hey, got to support the CFL and green and white, and of course the yellow. And I obviously can't show my Von Miller or Peyton Manning jersey, so there's some Super Bowl stuff as well if you want me to show my Broncos Super Bowl winning 50 jersey, Von Miller MVP. And I like Reddick. I like that defensive end for the Eagles as a roughie to win the MVP if it's a low-scoring game. There you go. First prop given to you.
Really? All right. Hold on. Let me get the odds up here. I like it, Mick. You're coming out with the picks here. Hassan Reddick to win the MVP. So what's the deal? Is it because you're a Bronco fan? You just can't pull for it's going to bother you if the Chiefs win? Is this why?
Oh, 100%, as they say now. Yes, absolutely. Massive Broncos fan. Huge disappointment. And you on the same show with Sean Payton today with Pat McAfee. That was unbelievable. I was listening to Sean Payton talk to Pat like he's a star. I'm so glad we got him as coach because we sure need him to pull Russell Wilson into gear. He got lazy off season, got too much fame, and very disappointing year for the Broncos. Sean Payton, wish him all the best. I hope we come back. 5-year deal, not bad.
You know what, Sean Payton, he's going to turn this thing around for sure. They're going to be a hell of a lot better than they were under Nate Hackett. I'll tell you what, Nate Hackett, I would not hire Nate Hackett to tear down that FanDuel stage right now. Like, let alone run an NFL team. No, I'm being dead serious. Like, if we said, all right, Nate Hackett, can you tear down the stage? No, he doesn't know what the hell. How do you get to tear down the stage? Right? I swear to God. Like, Nate Hackett should be sweeping the freaking carpets up here. And I don't want to insult the carpet sweepers here. But Nate Hackett sucked. Sean Payton, man, you see, this guy ain't playing around, Mick. You see, he goes, they said Russ Wilson has his own personal trainers and coaches in the building here. He goes, that's the first I heard of it. That won't happen. He shut that down like right away. Sean Payton, this guy, he's going to have it his way. Like, I'm telling you, I've met a lot of people. I've been around a lot of these guys, man. This guy, like, I was talking to Coach Reinbold. You know Coach Reinbold, Jeff Reinbold. I was talking to Coach Reinbold, and in fact, Coach Payton was there. And he said he told a story about he went to a camp, and he said, man, Sean Payton, this guy, right? Like, we're talking about the alpha dog coach, man. Like, people think Bill Belichick and Nick Saban or whatever mean or all this type stuff, and Nick Saban isn't really mean. He just doesn't really like the media that much. Bill Belichick is just a quiet, weird dude. Sean Payton is that guy. Like, you know what I mean? Sean Payton is that guy. He's got to topple tough division you play in, though, Mick. Tough division you play in. So give us some more picks here for the Super Bowl. I even gave you credit. I said, Mick said this game goes to overtime. Are you standing by that? Is this game going to go to overtime?
The calculation has not changed since this time last week. I gave the pick as going to overtime and Eagles to win because I can't go for the Chiefs. But realistically, if it does go to overtime, you probably got to, like Mahomes, to pull out some of that magic. But I just hope it's a close game. But it really is so intriguing. Like, sitting back, looking at the O-line and the D-line matchups, it's like a game of chess. It's like war. It's unbelievable to think of what could happen. And I do like the D-line of the Eagles to get to Mahomes, and Mahomes to only last 1.5 quarters. That was some prop bet. But then again, you never know. If the Chiefs get up early, that could be really, really interesting because, as I've said all week, the Eagles aren't used to playing from behind. But I also think the Eagles might control the game all through and it could be low scoring. Fascinating matchup. But yeah, I'm with some of the props like Mahomes overpassing. He'll go short a lot. And Hurts to run a fair bit as well. So I've been listening all week. But the big one, Gabe, in who my favorite NFLers picked, you'll like this. Before yesterday, I had like 7-1 going for the Eagles, and you were on a Darrell Revis island. But Sims and Florio, who I like, they went the Chiefs. So there you go. That'll give you a bit of confidence with your Chiefs pick money line to win.
What, Chris Sims and both Mike Florio are picking the Kansas City Chiefs to win?
Yeah, absolutely. They normally go opposite in a lot of the picks, and Florio normally beats Chris Sims' butt. But Chris Sims' amazing knowledge, but he's not too good at picks. But, yep, they both went Chiefs to win, which shocked me because so many people on the Eagles, and so am I. But, hey, we're talking 65% chance probably the game will go as we all think. And then there's the other 35% where anything can happen. We all know that. It's about odds and statistics, so looking forward to it. Just hope it's not a terrible blowout.
Hey, listen, that's what I don't understand is that the game is basically a pick 'em. The point spread is 1-1. It's 1.5. So the game is basically a pick 'em, yet so many people are on one side of this, which I don't really understand. It's like, it's basically like saying that 75% of the people like the if you flip the coin, 75% of people think that one side is going to happen, even though it's not realistic. It's not. There's like a 50.3% chance. There's something psychologically in people's minds that they've already bought in that Philadelphia are somehow way better than Kansas City are. Dude, they have the same record. They scored the same amount of points. The only difference is one of them actually plays in a real conference. One of them plays in a real division, right? Like, one of them didn't play the biggest cupcake schedule ever. Like, I don't understand this big thing that everybody thinks that Philadelphia are way better than Kansas City. I just don't see it.
Well, a young lad here that is really big on football and hockey, Mike Candino, not Cardano, he said to me, he says, Eagles, way better all over. So some people are so confident. But like I said, I know you're on the Chiefs, mate, but you can't forget the injuries. And I'm not that keen on the Chiefs wide receivers. Juju Smith, the former Steeler prancy guy, I know you got him for the first touchdown. You said that on McAfee. Hope you're right. I'm not keen on the Chiefs receivers without Tyreek Hill. I do like Devontae Smith. I really like that one, and other people do. Over 4.5 receptions. He is a star.
Brown, but let me say something, Mick. Let me say something, and it isn't against you. It ain't against you, but I just find it funny. We keep hearing this all the time. It's another thing about Kansas City wide receivers, right? Oh, the wide receiver. They don't have anything. Patrick Mahomes led the National Football League in passing. He threw it to somebody. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're not like the last team in passing. Well, they don't have anybody really to throw the ball to. They led the NFL in passing yards. Sorry, I'm not yelling at you. I got to yell because they got drills now. You hear the drills coming out. Go on,
yeah, but I can't go for the Chiefs, you know that. But yes, and the other one we talked about, trends, analysis, statistics. like you said, so many of the statistics and the trends are against the Chiefs, including the MVP doesn't win the Super Bowl. And Gabe, you'll like this one. That is a thing from back home as well in the AFL and all the country Aussie leagues. That is definitely a thing. The extra pressure is on the player to perform in the grand final or Super Bowl.
So hold on, Mick. You know what? Hang in here. We'll we'll bring Steve in with you. But you're telling me, Mick, that the same thing happens in the AFL? The guy that wins, the best player or what outstanding player doesn't win?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. And
yeah,
in
you got.
country
For the
leagues
record,
as
we got
well.
to go back to. Yeah, we got to go back to 1999. All right, like party like it's 1999. Go back to 1999, the last time the MVP in the National Football League won the Super Bowl. They've lost a lot. Kurt Warner did. More with Mick, and Steve Merrill joins us. All right, countdown to kickoff continues. I am Morenzi. We're throwing it down here right now on Media Row. We're going over all these numbers, our heads, the multiple props are going on in the air here. So Mick Aussie is going to bring in Steve Merrill in a second. But Mick, your prediction, I want to get your final score again here. You keep on dodging. You keep on moving. You said it's tied. It's 3. I want to get a final score. But you said Hassan Reddick MVP. So I like your bold pick there. Hassan Reddick MVP. Hassan Reddick is 28-1. Here are the MVP odds right now. Patrick Mahomes plus 125. All right, hold on. Let me get there. Let's hit refresh because these guys got the board up here. Let me get the refreshed. All right, so I can't. Oh, yeah, here we go. Plus 130. Mahomes plus 130. Hurts plus 130. Kelsey 16-1. A.J. Brown 18-1. Miles Sanders 25-1. Devontae Smith 30-1. Hassan Reddick has gone up. So you're getting 34-1, Mick. You bet $1,000 on that, Mick. You win $34,000 back, and you can buy season tickets to the Edmonton Elks for the next 34 years. Or is that 34? Yeah, I guess that'd be better. It's a lot of tickets. Let's bring Steve Merrill in. What's going on, Steve? How you doing?
Mick, I will trade you some Washington Redskins suspenders for some Edmonton Eskimo gear. You and I got to figure that out on the black market. We'll have to use the dark web to do that. Or something.
No. I put you two together. I thought you would come up with this, Merrill, somehow. I never thought about the two bet. I guess you guys could trade some gear if you want, yeah?
You use the dark web.
If you and I had been down this... I didn't see that coming, Merrill. I'm going to give you that.
When he said Elks, I'm like, Elks? Oh, that's right. That's
yeah.
It took me a second.
Well, I asked him earlier. I said, why are you wearing an Elk jersey? What the hell does that have to do with this? But you and I have been down this road, and me and Steve, I don't know, spent countless hours talking about this, but you agreed. The Elks handled it a lot better than your team did, right? It was smooth, boom, same, you know what I mean? And the Elks doesn't suck, Steve, right? The Commanders suck. I like the name sucks.
I'll be honest. I think it's a better nickname. I mean, obviously, Mick, you've been a fan longer than I have, the CFL, but I think Edmonton Elks is pretty smooth.
Listen, no one would care about the name of the Edmonton football team. They're just mad because put it this way, Mick, and you know this. If the football team, if Edmonton was the 2-time defending champions right now, Elk gear would be selling like Connor McDavid jerseys. They suck. They don't win. And it's just by coincidence, Steve, that since they changed their name, they haven't won a home game in 3 years. Literally. They haven't won a home game in years. Yeah, but they win on the road. No, it's gone. And there was a pandemic year, so they didn't play 1 year, Steve. So they went 1 year without winning, pandemic, and now again they didn't win. And it really is something, isn't it? But anyways. So, yeah, 28-1. Steve? MVP, you have an MVP pick for us in this football game.
Yeah, look, we talk about it all the time, Gabe. It's most likely going to be the quarterback, but you're getting good odds. Mick's getting good odds for a good reason because he's picking a non-quarterback. But I'm trying to find it now. I think Mark Lawrence located. I've got the MVP. Quarterback's not doing well. I've got that stat in front of me. But what is it? Something like 10 of the last 13 or something have been the the quarterback for either team, and I really don't see that changing. And where it gets complicated too is that it's so hard to pick a receiver because it's basically impossible for a receiver not to have a big game without the quarterback having a big game, unless the guy throws 2 or 3 interceptions, and you don't see Mahomes doing that. Hurts perhaps, but then again, if you do that, you're going to probably not win the Super Bowl. So That's why it's so hard
Well,
for
that's
a
what
tight. I
was
don't think a
weird.
tight end's ever won it for that reason.
You know what it is, Steve? For a wide receiver to win, I know it's bizarre. Because if the wide receiver has like 3 touchdown catches and 218 yards, well, chances are the quarterback threw to someone else as well, and he's the one with like 5 touchdowns and 380 yards. You know what I mean?
Right.
So look, yeah, exactly. So you look at last year, Cooper Kupp won. They didn't give it to Matt Stafford, right? Because Stafford wasn't that good. You know what I mean? But it was like, well, no one really did anything great. And look, Cooper Kupp's got, 2 touchdowns or whatever. Yeah, I see 1 touchdown and 13 catches. You know what I mean? They were like, we're not giving it to Stafford. So they ended up with Cooper Kupp. But it is interesting. But okay, guys, just as far as the regular season MVP, we go back to 1999. Since then, when it's happened, so Kurt Warner won the MVP in 1999, and then they won the Super Bowl. He came out from bagging groceries in the Arena League and all that. Got cut by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Great move, Winnipeg. So he got cut by the Bombers. Ends up going into the NFL only because Trent Green gets hurt. Wins the MVP, wins the Super Bowl. They win. Kurt Warner in 2001 won the MVP again. That's when they lost to the Patriots. Rich Gannon, 2002. Rich Gannon just sort of had a fluke year. He was good, not great. Sean Alexander, the running back. They lost in the Super Bowl. Tom Brady, 2007. Peyton Manning, 2009. Cam Newton, 2015. Matt Ryan, 2016. Tom Brady, 2017. Steve, is this something real, or is this just some random crap here? Give me a reason why this doesn't mean anything.
No, I'm going to do the exact opposite, actually. I think there is some logic to it. And first of all, let's not forget about the Heisman Trophy jinx. Remember that game?
Yeah.
For decades. The Heisman Trophy guy was like 20% against the spread in the bowl game. And that was back when we had the set 4 or 5 bowl games. It hasn't worked as well recently because of the national championship picture. You're getting some guys that have something to play for. But the reason it worked there, and I think the reason it had to make an argument, same thing with the Sports Illustrated cover jinx, right? It's not random, because if a player gets to that level, they have probably at some point overachieved that season to be the best in the league, which means there is some regression due. Now, I would agree that Mahomes could be the exception to that rule, but look at some of the names you just said. Cam Newton, Rich Gannon. I mean, these are guys that aren't going to be Hall of Famers. Patrick Mahomes is going to be. But it is an interesting angle, and I think it's because sometimes those teams are vastly peaked. But the Chiefs are also the underdog in this game, so it's a little bit different in that scenario as well.
Very strange. So, Steve, what's a prop or two that you like that you want to share with us for this game?
Well, of course, it's going to depend on how you think the game is playing out. Teddy Covers and I talked a lot about it all week on Wager Talk today, and it was a Prez-free zone game Monday through Friday, so you guys are safe to go back and watch the replays on Wager Talk TV. Teddy used cold.
You're telling people he's not there, so watch. It's good.
It's safe.
You're on
it's
fire
safe.
today, man. I gotta give you credit. Yeah.
We've been doing that all week. It's pretty fun. I told Teddy to get some rest because Prez is back Mondays. But Teddy yesterday, I'm going to piggyback on one of his props from yesterday, which I liked the more we talked about it. Was under 7 punts for the game. Teddy's theory is that it's going to be a low possession game, but just both teams are going to control the ball. Obviously, the Eagles do that pretty well at the run game. I thought under 7 punts makes a lot of sense. It was initially 7.5. It's now 7 under minus money. I think there's been some sharp action on that one.
You know what? Mick knows about kicking the ball from the AFL days.
Yeah.
But McAfee asked me to. I was on, and I gave him a bunch of props. I should have came prepared since he was a punter with a punter prop, Steve. I'm like, damn, I should have. I like where he's going. But he asked me, but it goes fast, and I actually was going to say the under. You know what? The same thing. Not so much low possessions. Number one, I like the over the game. So number one, I think teams are going to score. Number two, you have 2 very aggressive coaches. Right? Sirianni's going to go for it probably from his own 38 or something, Steve, at some point. And people are going to be like, this guy's nuts. Right? And Andy Reid might say, screw that. I'm not punting it. I'm not kicking a field goal. I got Mahomes. I'm going for it. And, so they either score or end up going for it. Or, Steve, I also think this game, and I brought this up earlier, I think there's going to be success in between the 20s. And I know they're red zone numbers in the regular season. But it's not the regular season. Right? I mean, I get it. Kansas City scores touchdowns 70% of the time when they get in red zone, 68% of the time for the Eagles. But I could see a lot of all right, KC 8 up 6 minutes, Steve, go down the field, but they got to settle for 3. I like Teddy's pick. Give him credit, and I'll tip my cap to him. I like where he's going with this.
Yeah, and the other thing too, I think Hurts over props makes sense. Rushing yards, rushing attempts, because he's going to have to scramble. I think there's going to be some pressure on him, and I thought that's another way to look. And you're right. High scoring game means less punts as well. It's another great way to put it. Or field goals means less punts. So I think just because you like under punts, or short possessions doesn't mean it won't be a lot of scoring. So I agree with you there, and I think Hurts over props with rushing yards, attempts, and stuff makes sense also.
Mick, are you playing any props? And for the record, too, I just want to throw this in. Mick, get a prop ready or two or something for us. Everybody loves the same game parlays now. Let's just call it out for what it is, especially the younger, the new thing, the same game parlay. Here's one that I've already played. Kansas City Chiefs to win the game. Travis Kelce to score a touchdown in the game. Patrick Mahomes, 300 or more yards in the game, plus 500. Plus 500. So KC to win, Kelce to score a touchdown, Mahomes 300 or more passing yards. I like this one as well. And I like the plays like this because you don't have to worry about who wins. This is another one. Jalen Hurts to score a touchdown. Jalen Hurts 50 or more rushing yards. Jalen Hurts 200 or more passing yards. I think this game's going to turn into a track meet, actually, all attainable, and I don't even have to worry about who wins the game. I also like the exact margin, 3 points at plus 425, 3-point differential. I think it's a 3-point game. Mick, do you play any props, national anthem, Gatorade color, and all that other stupid stuff for rush yards, or what do you got for us?
I don't play the stupid ones, but I do like Chris Jones to have 3.5 tackles or more. I heard that one. He's a beast. He's amazing. I also like Patrick Mahomes to throw an interception, and I hope he does, but that's not too much of a concern. And I also like, if there's a prop out there, I'd like it to be the most viewed Super Bowl ever for one reason. Rihanna. She's a superstar, and she will go down as having one of the top 3 best Super Bowl halftime shows ever, but there'll still be the critical people out there. I know that.
Andy Lang used this prop today on Wager Talk today. Cleavage, minus 300 for Rihanna, Nick. Minus 300 cleavage. And Andy said that's a slam dunk.
That's a lot. Put that in every parlay. I made a joke, actually. I asked someone, I think it was a commercial break. They said, about the exotic props and stuff. And I said, it's Rihanna. Oh, you know what it was? I said, I was in Houston when Janet Jackson did that thing, right? The nipple bowl. And I said, I'm sure, it's Rihanna. Somebody said to me, they're concerned about Rihanna tomorrow. I said, Steve, what's there to be concerned about? She's half naked already half the time. I got to believe, yes, Mick, I'd lay the minus 300, Steve and Mick. There's going to be cleavage, all right? She ain't showing up at the Super Bowl without. That's like me showing up at McAfee and not doing something, being loud on the way out. She's showing cleavage.
Yeah, there's some of those bets are just free rolls. That might be one of them.
Put it. My favorite old school one was when I put Bud Light over Budweiser in the Bud Bowl in like every parlay.
Yeah, those were the days.
Old school parlay day cards. Yeah. Bud Light versus Bud Bowl. They had the bottles
and
playing
Bud
each
Dry
other
got
in
into
the
the mix and confused everything. Wasn't the fullback like Bud Dry? Wasn't there a big Bud Dry can as the fullback or the nose tackle or something?
Yeah. And the whole thing was, Steve, we were all capping it knowing. I was like, well, they didn't put all this money into Bud Light. Bud Light was newer, right? I was like, Bud Light's going to win, right? And I knew, and then I got an inside tip. I knew something for the computer industry. They said, I guarantee you they win. I worked on the game and stuff. Load it up. We'll get some best bets with Mick and Merrill on the way out. Shout out to our boy Parker, even though he's pretty cocky because his Chiefs have been good for a couple of years. Remember, you only got one so far, right? You got as many Super Bowls. Think about that. As good as Mahomes is, he's got as many as Trent Dilfer. And I wonder if Trent Dilfer isn't impressed with Mahomes. I'm not impressed with Brady and Rodgers. But actually, I think he would be because he was saying those guys just drop back and throw the ball. But he's still wrong. No, but good luck, Parker. I'm taking your Chiefs. It's nothing personal. That's funny. I saw Trevor Lawrence say in an interview. He said he's picking the Chiefs because he thinks the Chiefs' defense is going to confuse Hurts. And he said it's confusing what they do. And I thought it was interesting. He goes, I'm pulling for them because they beat us. And he said, I would prefer. And they said, the team to beat you? And he goes, yeah. I've said that to people before. And people are like, oh, you're crazy. No, you want the team to beat you because they're actually the champion. And you can say, look, man, we lost to the champions. There's a path for us there. And he said the same thing. And Ryan Clark on the set, who was the Super Bowl winner with the Steelers, said the exact same thing. He said, no, we always wanted our rivals to win because you're only as good as your rival. If your rival is some like, somebody in the slums, then where are you? You want your rival to be successful. Mick, final score prediction.
All right. Like I said, overtime pays about 10-1. Eagles 27, Chiefs 24. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's low scoring. And I'll disagree on a couple with you. I think the team that scores first will win. I think the Eagles will score first. And I also think, I'll disagree again, I think there'll be more points in the second half. Too much at stake for the coaches to take too many risks. There you go.
I always bet, will there be more points in the first half, second half? I always take the second half. I don't know. I don't even know. Steve, prediction on the way out. What do you got for us?
Yeah, let's go 30-24, and I'm going to take the Chiefs. Eagles are looking pretty public. All the radio guys I've talked to this week, Gabe, it seemed like the Eagles, so that's enough to get me leaning Chiefs. And
great job by everybody here on the grid, man. We're really kicking ass here, and everybody is noticing. Thanks, everybody.